The cabin lights are dim. The air feels dry, stale, the recycled kind that clings to your throat. A crying baby somewhere in the distance becomes the soundtrack of the next 14 hours. The seat in front of you reclines 2 inches, just enough to ruin your tray space. Your knees ache, your lower back starts to hum with pressure. You twist, stretch, adjust, but the armrest digs into your side like a reminder that comfort is reserved for another class. You glance at your screen. Still 9 hours and 46 minutes to go. The flight attendant walks by balancing a cart that squeaks on every bump, offering meals that smell vaguely familiar but taste like nothing you can name. You accept it anyway, because there's nothing else to do. Somewhere between turbulence and half-sleep, it hits you. This isn't travel, it's endurance. Every time you tell yourself, next time I'll be smarter, you'll pack better, sleep better, eat better. But somehow, you always end up right back here, trapped in a metal tube, counting the hours, trying to make peace with the discomfort. But what if I told you there are secrets airlines will never tell you, secrets that make economy class feel almost first class without spending a cent more? Because what separates the miserable from the masters of air travel isn't money, it's knowledge. And by the end of this guide, you'll know every trick they don't want you to know. Welcome to Economy Class Survival Guide 2025, 15 secrets airlines never tell you. And if you've ever sworn mid-flight that you'll never fly economy again, hit subscribe, because after this, you'll never see air travel the same way again. Every inch of space inside an economy cabin has been calculated. The seats didn't shrink by mistake. They were engineered to test how much discomfort a passenger can tolerate before they start wishing they had paid for an upgrade. Airlines know that once people associate relief with spending more, they've won. The design of discomfort starts long before you board. Seat pitch, the distance between rows, has been trimmed year after year, not because it's efficient, but because it increases profit per square foot. The recline angle looks generous on paper, yet it barely changes the way you sit. Even the armrests are designed to create tension. 2 passengers, 1 armrest, an intentional source of low-level irritation. Behavioral scientists call it micro-territorial stress. It makes privacy feel like a luxury worth paying for. Meal portions are small for a reason. They satisfy hunger just enough to prevent complaints, but not enough to make you comfortable. Cabin lighting is tuned to keep you docile, not rested. Air circulation is programmed to save fuel, not to keep you feeling fresh. Everything, from the seat fabric to the air pressure, is optimized for efficiency, not humanity. Comfort isn't overlooked, it's traded. The less you have of it, the more valuable it becomes, and airlines monetize that desire. Once you understand this, the illusion fades. You start to see economy class for what it is, a controlled environment built to make premium look like salvation. If comfort is engineered against you, then the only real choice is to outsmart the system. Knowledge becomes your upgrade. Small strategic changes can transform your experience without spending a cent more. You don't need status, miles, or luck. You just need awareness. Once you understand how the system works, you can start bending it. The flight won't suddenly feel spacious, but it will start to feel like something you control. From this moment on, you stop being just another passenger. You become a strategist, navigating the same space differently. The discomfort is still there, but now it has no power over you. It all begins with a single decision: where you sit. The first and most underestimated choice that can turn 14 hours of endurance into something close to comfort. Choosing the right seat. Every long flight begins long before you step into the airport. It begins with the seat map. Most passengers treat it like a lottery, clicking whatever is available. But what looks like chance is actually a system, one that hides better options in plain sight. Airlines don't release all their good seats at once. Their algorithms hold back specific rows and aisles, waiting for last-minute bookings, loyalty members, or passengers willing to pay for extra comfort. These are known among frequent travelers as ghost seats, seats that appear taken when you first book, only to reappear days before the flight. The trick is timing. Check the seat map again 24 to 48 hours before departure, when airlines quietly reshuffle their layouts. A seat that was blocked suddenly opens up, sometimes a window with an empty spot beside it, or an aisle seat with extra legroom once reserved for premium upgrades. Those who know to look win comfort without cost. But how do you find them? Use platforms like Seat Guru or Expert Flyer, tools that decode hidden seat data. They don't just show which seats are free, but which ones are worth it. They mark misaligned windows, limited recline zones, and power outlet positions. What most travelers ignore, these maps reveal. A few minutes of research can save you hours of discomfort. And here's the part most people miss: book directly through the airline's website. Third-party booking sites often hide advanced seat maps or assign you automatically, locking you into whatever's left. Direct booking gives you visibility into every seat configuration and access to changes the moment they happen. It's not just about comfort, it's about control. Taking control before your trip even begins lowers pre-flight anxiety. You're not boarding with uncertainty, you're boarding with intention. You know exactly where you'll sit, how much space you'll have, and what to expect. That clarity sets the tone for the entire journey. Most passengers start their flight feeling powerless. The smart ones, the ones who choose with awareness, start calm. They've already won half the battle before takeoff. Because in economy class, mastery isn't about luxury, it's about strategy. And the first move is always the seat. The compression sock secret. There's a man who's logged more air miles than most pilots. He's not wealthy, not famous, just a consultant who spends half his year suspended between time zones. He has one rule for every flight, no matter how short: never board without compression socks. The first time he skipped them, it was a 6-hour flight from Chicago to London. Halfway through, his legs started to throb. By the time he landed, they felt like they had been filled with wet cement. He brushed it off as exhaustion until a doctor told him it wasn't fatigue, it was circulation failure. Long flights turn the human body into a closed loop. You sit for hours, knees bent, blood flow restricted. Gravity does its quiet work, pulling everything downward. The result is swelling, pressure, and sometimes something far worse. What most passengers think of as stiffness is actually blood pooling, a slow stagnation that leaves your legs heavy, your head foggy, and your energy drained long after you've landed. Compression socks solve that problem. They apply gentle pressure from the ankle up, pushing blood back to the heart. It's basic physiology, yet it changes the entire experience. You arrive sharper, clearer, and surprisingly awake, while everyone else looks like they've been poured out of their seats. There's science behind the feeling. Improved circulation means better oxygen delivery to the brain. That's why the frequent flyer who once felt half alive after landing now steps off ready to negotiate, drive, or walk straight into a meeting. The flight stops feeling like something to recover from and starts feeling like a transition you control. And yes, they look ridiculous, like you're training for a marathon at 35,000 feet. But the difference hits when you stand up after a long flight and your legs don't feel like concrete pillars. Suddenly you stop caring how they look. Because on a long-haul flight, comfort isn't about luxury, it's about biology. The people who understand that land feeling human. The rest are still waiting for their legs to forgive them.
Subtle movements that save you. Somewhere over the Atlantic, the cabin settles into that mid-flight stillness. The quiet hum of the engines, the low blue light, rows of passengers frozen in identical positions. It's the moment when the body begins to shut down, inch by inch. Toes go numb, knees lock, shoulders tighten. Most people mistake it for rest. It's not. It's your circulation slowing to a crawl. This is where the smallest movements matter most. The trick isn't to stand or stretch in the aisle every hour, it's to move invisibly, without leaving your seat. Start with your ankles. Draw slow circles under the seat in front of you. 10 one way, 10 the other. Then flex your toes, pressing forward as if you're pushing against an invisible pedal. The motion sends blood upward, restoring flow without disturbing anyone around you. Next, engage your thighs. Press your feet into the floor and tighten your leg muscles for 5 seconds. Then release. It's a micropulsive movement that wakes the lower body and tells your veins to keep working. Every 45 minutes, repeat the sequence. You don't need space, just awareness. If you're watching this on your phone mid-flight, try it now. You'll feel a slow warmth build in your calves. That's oxygen returning, fatigue reversing. The numbness starts to fade, replaced by a subtle alertness. Even your breathing changes. Deepening it slightly, in through the nose, out through the mouth, turns that dry, recycled air into something manageable. The hum of the engine becomes a rhythm to sync with, not a noise to endure. There's a quiet satisfaction in mastering these invisible movements. You're surrounded by hundreds of still bodies, yet yours is quietly alive, awake, aware, and adapting. Every small motion you make tells your body, I'm not trapped. Because long flights don't just test patience, they test endurance. And endurance isn't built through strength, it's built through rhythm. Every 45 minutes, wake your muscles, not your seatmate. The difference between arriving drained or arriving strong often comes down to these tiny, unseen acts of control. Movements no one notices, but your body will thank you for hours later. The science of sleeping and economy. Sleep on a long flight isn't about exhaustion. It's about engineering. The cabin hums, the lights dim, and hundreds of passengers close their eyes, but very few actually rest. That's because most of what people believe about sleeping on planes is wrong. Take the neck pillow. Almost everyone wears it backwards. Designed correctly, the thicker part belongs in front, not behind. It supports the chin, not the neck, stopping your head from snapping forward every time you start to drift. The first time you flip it, it feels strange. The second time, it feels like relief. Then there's layering. Temperature control in a cabin isn't uniform. It shifts every few rows. The smartest flyers don't depend on airline blankets. They create their own comfort system. A soft scarf that doubles as a pillow wrap. A hoodie that blocks light and traps warmth. Layering isn't about style. It's about temperature autonomy. Once your body stays at a consistent temperature, sleep becomes easier, deeper, and less interrupted. Posture is the final piece, and the most misunderstood. The goal isn't to recline as far as possible, it's to find a position that keeps oxygen flowing freely while reducing spinal pressure. A small lumbar roll, even a rolled-up hoodie placed at the lower back, changes everything. It opens the chest slightly, straightens the breathing pathway, and prevents that dull ache that most passengers greet when they land. Every movement in the seat, every angle of rest affects how you feel hours later. It's not luxury that makes first-class passengers wake up refreshed. It's geometry. They're positioned in ways that help the body maintain circulation and airflow. You can do the same, even in economy. Picture this. The hum of the engine softens in your awareness, your body warm, but not overheated, your head steady, your breath slow. You wake not because your neck hurts, but because the cabin lights have gently risen. You feel clear, not crushed. Comfort in economy isn't an accident. It's the result of understanding how the body, the seat, and the environment interact and adjusting them just enough to work together. Because the difference between waking up exhausted and waking up strong isn't money. It's method. Preventing sleep interruptions. You finally manage to fall asleep. The cabin is quiet, your body temperature is stable, you're breathing steady. But then, a tap on the shoulder. A flight attendant asking you to buckle up. One small interruption, and your body clock resets. What most passengers don't realize is that this moment can undo an hour of rest. There's a simple fix that experienced travelers swear by. The seatbelt trick. Always fasten your seatbelt over your blanket, not underneath. When turbulence hits or the seatbelt sign comes on, the crew can see it secured and they won't need to wake you. It's one of those quiet pieces of travel wisdom that separates those who rest from those who merely nap. But that's just the start. The way you position your surroundings determines how long your sleep lasts. Keep your tray table fully upright and locked, not because the airline says so, but because turbulence can shift it, jolt your arm, or send your drink across your lap. It's the kind of disruption that snaps your brain out of rest mode instantly. Your blanket should be tucked under your sides, not just thrown across your lap. That small anchor prevents it from sliding off mid-flight when the cabin air shifts. Cold air creeping under a blanket might not wake you instantly, but it forces your body to tense up, ending deep sleep cycles. And your feet, they matter more than you think. Place them flat on the floor or on a stable footrest, not crossed or wedged into the seat bar ahead. When turbulence hits, that grounding keeps your body stable, preventing the sudden muscle tightening that jolts you awake. There's also a hidden psychological layer. Each time you wake suddenly on a plane, whether from noise, cold, or a shoulder bump, your brain releases alert hormones. It's a safety mechanism designed to protect you in danger. But midair, it backfires. That one wake-up moment can undo your internal rhythm, convincing your body it's time to be awake again. It's why so many passengers say, "I slept, but I still feel tired." Their body clock never completed the cycle. The secret to real in-flight sleep isn't about how fast you fall asleep. It's about protecting the rhythm once you do. A visible seatbelt, a stable tray table, a tucked blanket, and grounded feet. Small adjustments that keep the outside world from breaking the fragile system your body works so hard to maintain. Because in the air, rest isn't given, it's engineered. Noise and light control. It's strange how a space filled with hundreds of strangers can feel louder than a city street. The coughs, seat clicks, crying infants, and that endless symphony of zippers and seatbelt snaps, all layered over the constant hum of the engines. Add the flicker of reading lights, phone screens, and tray table lamps, and suddenly, your brain is on defense. It's trying to survive chaos. Here's the method that turns that chaos into calm. The layer method. Start with soft silicone earplugs. They don't block sound completely, they blunt the sharp edges of it. Then, layer noise-canceling headphones over them. This combination doesn't just reduce sound, it creates a controlled silence, one where your heartbeat and breathing take center stage again. Next, the final layer, the eye mask. But not just any. Go for one that curves away from your eyes, so you can blink freely. What it does is powerful. It tricks your body into thinking it's night. Your circadian rhythm, which depends on light, finally gets permission to rest. This is what frequent travelers call building a cocoon. You're not escaping the cabin, you're reclaiming it. Inside that small personal bubble, the chatter fades, the flicker disappears, and what's left is rhythm, your own breathing syncing with the steady pulse of the engines. Meanwhile, chaos continues around you. The beverage carts, the overhead lights, someone watching a movie without headphones. But it's distant now. You found quiet in one of the most noisy environments on Earth. And here's the thing. Once you've built that cocoon, your mind relaxes faster than any sleep aid could manage. Your sensory load drops, your heart rate stabilizes. Even if you don't sleep, you recover. Because real rest isn't always about shutting down. Sometimes it's about shutting out. What's the loudest or most awkward thing you've ever heard on a flight? Drop it in the comments. I guarantee we'll all relate.
Eating and drinking like a pro. Every long flight comes with the same temptations. The tiny bottle of wine, the endless coffee refills, the salty pretzels that seem harmless at first. But here's the hidden truth. Every one of those small choices adds up to how terrible or terrific you'll feel when you land. Up in the air, your body behaves differently. The cabin air is drier than most deserts. Humidity can drop below 20%. When you eat salty foods or drink alcohol, your body tries to balance that salt and dehydration by holding on to every drop of water it can. That's why your fingers swell, your ankles tighten, and your energy crashes halfway through the flight. Coffee? It's comfort in a cup, but at 35,000 feet, caffeine's dehydrating effect doubles. It spikes your alertness briefly, then drops you into a fog of fatigue. And that's the trap. What feels like energy is really just a short-term illusion. Seasoned travelers know a better rhythm, something they call the hydration loop. It's simple. Sip water every 20 minutes. Not gulps, not bottles at once, sips. This keeps your body hydrated without overloading your bladder, and it maintains oxygen flow to your muscles and brain. The result is subtle but powerful. Clearer thoughts, softer skin, and less stiffness when you stand up. And here's where real self-care takes shape. Bring your own snacks. Skip the salty peanuts and processed options. Go for high-fiber, slow-energy foods. Unsalted nuts, dried fruit, oat bars, or even cut-up apples. These release energy gradually, keeping your blood sugar steady while everyone else battles sugar crashes and bloating. There's something quietly empowering about that moment, when the cart rolls by and you politely decline, knowing you've already taken charge of your comfort. You're no longer reacting to the flight, you're managing it. Because self-care in the sky isn't indulgence, it's strategy. It's knowing that every choice you make, from the drink in your cup to the snack in your hand, is shaping how strong and alert you'll feel the moment those wheels touch down. It's not about luxury, it's about control. And control in economy class is the rarest comfort of all. Most travelers think entertainment is just about killing time, but the pros know it's about rewiring your brain for endurance. The trick is, create a flight-only media folder. It could be a collection of shows, documentaries, or podcasts you never touch on the ground, the kind you save only for when you fly. What this does is simple but surprisingly powerful. It turns boredom into anticipation. Your brain begins to associate air travel with reward, not restraint. Instead of staring at the clock or refreshing the flight map, you start to look forward to that one series, that one story, that soundtrack that only exists above the clouds. Suddenly, time doesn't crawl, it flows.
There's also a hidden benefit. When you reserve certain content for your flights, your mind enters what psychologists call a pattern of selective reward, a state where you engage more deeply because access feels earned. You're not scrolling, you're savoring. And this shift transforms your entire perception of the flight. What once felt like hours of confinement now becomes personal retreat, your own private theater high above the noise. Soon, you'll catch yourself thinking differently before every trip. Not, how long will this flight take, but I finally get to continue that show. That's not just entertainment. That's engineering your mindset for calm, focus, and control. The thermos trick. There's a certain kind of traveler who always seems calm, the one that settles in quietly, no fuss, no rush. Their secret isn't luck, it's preparation. And one of their simplest, most overlooked tools? A thermos. It starts before the flight. They fill it with herbal tea, warm water, or even electrolyte mix. Once on board, while others wait for the drink cart or sip from paper cups that cool too fast, they already have comfort in hand. Steady, warm, familiar. A thermos changes the entire rhythm of a long flight. It keeps you hydrated without relying on flight attendants. It gives you control over temperature, taste, and timing. 3 things most people lose the moment they step onto the plane. Then there's the hygiene factor. Every sip you take comes from your own clean container, not a shared tray or plastic cup that's been handled a dozen times. It's a small detail, but in the recycled air of an airplane, those details matter. And when the cabin lights dim and the air cools, that warm drink becomes more than hydration. It's comfort you can hold. The steady heat in your hands, the quiet aroma of something familiar, it signals to your nervous system that you're safe. That calm isn't random, it's designed. Because calm travelers aren't lucky, they're prepared. They think ahead, they plan small comforts, and as a result, they move through chaos with ease. And that's the truth about flying economy in 2025. It's not about escaping discomfort, it's about engineering control in an environment built to take it away. Building your personal survival kit. There's a moment on every long flight, somewhere between the second meal service and the 7th hour, when small discomforts start stacking up. Dry hands, chapped lips, that strange pressure behind your eyes, the need for a pen just when customs forms appear. That's where most passengers start to lose patience. But not you, not if you've built your personal survival kit. This isn't about luxury, it's about precision. A small pouch that fits in your seat pocket, holding the essentials that turn chaos into control. Sanitizer, mini lotion, lip balm, a pen, an eye mask, a toothbrush, and any meds you might need. Everything within reach, everything yours. It may look simple, but it's a psychological anchor. When you know exactly where your essentials are, you stop reacting and you start commanding your space. That sense of order in a cramped cabin is power. It tells your body, you're safe, you're ready, you belong here. Frequent flyers know that being organized mid-air isn't about impressing anyone, it's about preserving your calm. Each small tool becomes a silent buffer between you and the 1,000 micro-stresses of travel. You sanitize before meals without waiting for wipes. You hydrate your skin before it cracks. You jot down an idea the second it arrives. Tiny, deliberate actions that keep you in control of your comfort, while everyone else fights theirs. Because organized equals safe, and safe in the sky feels elite. And when the plane lands and everyone scrambles for their bags, you won't feel drained or frantic. You'll feel steady, ready, like someone who didn't just survive economy class, but mastered it. Combating dry air and medication timing. There's a reason you step off a long flight feeling foggy, stiff, and strangely older. It's not just exhaustion, it's dehydration disguised as jet lag. The air inside a plane is drier than most deserts. Every breath you take, every cup of coffee or glass of wine quietly drains your body's reserves. But here's what seasoned travelers know. Fix dehydration and you fix half of what makes long flights unbearable. A simple, strategic system. Saline spray for your nose, eye drops for your focus, and vitamin hydration packs for your cells. These small tools work silently, resetting your balance as the hours pass. And there's another layer, medication timing. If you take daily meds, don't trust your phone clock mid-air. Use the destination's time zone the moment you board. It's a subtle shift that keeps your body rhythm aligned so you arrive clear-headed and steady, not sluggish and disoriented. While most passengers chase sleep or caffeine, you'll be managing your biology like an expert, quietly, confidently, in control. Because on a 14-hour flight, comfort isn't luck, it's chemistry managed well. Smart clothing and layering. Airplane cabins have a strange rhythm. Too cold, then too warm, then freezing again. Most travelers react to it. The smart ones prepare for it. The rule is simple. Dress like an explorer, not a passenger. Start with a breathable base layer that keeps moisture off your skin. Add a soft, insulating middle, a hoodie, a wrap, a light sweater. Top it off with something removable, like a jacket or scarf that doubles as a blanket. The result is, you adapt faster than the cabin does. While others fidget with vents or beg for extra blankets, you're already comfortable. Your own temperature zone in the middle of 300 strangers. It's not just fashion, it's flight armor, built from awareness, not impulse. Bathroom timing strategy. There's an unspoken art to timing your bathroom breaks on a flight, and mastering it can save you from one of travel's most awkward disasters. The secret? Go 20 minutes after meal service or 1 hour before landing. Right after the crew clears trays, the aisles are open, lines are short, and the air is calm. Wait too long, and you're suddenly in a queue of 5 people doing the same math you just did. And here's the golden rule. Never wait for turbulence to remind you, because no one wants to be balancing at 35,000 feet with their pants halfway down and the plane shaking like a washing machine. It's a quick, clever fix that no one talks about, but once you get the rhythm right, your entire flight feels smoother. Smart timing equals calm travel. Traveling with kids. If you've ever flown with kids, you know. It's not a trip, it's a mission. You're managing snacks, naps, moods, and the strange alchemy of keeping a small human entertained inside a flying capsule for hours. Here's the truth. Perfection doesn't exist at 35,000 feet. What matters is rhythm. Plan small breaks, walks up the aisle, coloring time, short stories. Then, let go of control when things get messy. Sometimes survival means laughing through the chaos. Every parent on a plane is fighting the same quiet battle, fatigue versus patience. You're not alone in it. You're part of an unspoken alliance of travelers just trying to make it through the clouds in one piece. If you've ever flown with kids, respect. Drop your best survival hack in the comments so other parents can breathe easy too. Beating jet lag. Jet lag isn't just exhaustion, it's your body's confusion. The trick isn't fighting it after you land, it's training your rhythm before you fly. 2 days ahead of departure, start shifting your sleep and light exposure to match your destination. Open your blinds earlier or later depending on where you're headed. You're teaching your brain what morning means in a new time zone. Pair that with meal timing and steady hydration cues. Eat and drink as though you're already there. Your body begins to sync, quietly, efficiently, before your plane even takes off. This is the final secret, the one that separates frequent flyers from the rest. Because mastering jet lag isn't about endurance, it's about alignment. You're no longer just a passenger, you're the pilot of your own energy. You started this journey feeling trapped, cramped seats, crying babies, recycled air. But now you understand the system.
You know how to navigate it, manipulate it, even thrive inside it. What once felt like endurance now feels like mastery. You don't need a first-class ticket, you need strategy. And the best travelers aren't the richest, they're the most prepared. From seat hacks to hydration timing, from quiet cocooning to sleep science, you've learned how to reclaim control at 35,000 feet. And once you do that, flying stops being misery, it becomes art. So the next time you board, remember, you're not just surviving your flight, you're outsmarting it. Before your next flight, subscribe, because airlines won't tell you what's coming next, but I will, and it might just save your trip.